Darkcast Network. Out of the shadows come the best indie podcasts.
How do you think the world will end? Alien invasion? Nuclear disaster? Another, more deadly pandemic? I'm Jackie Moranti, and I'm the host of Cause of Death, 100 Seconds to Midnight. I talk about the things that could obliterate mankind. I call it pre-apocalyptic nonfiction. The doomsday clock was set at 100 seconds to midnight from January of 2020 to January of 2023. On January 24th, 2023, the Board of Atomic Scientists moved the hands of the clock even closer to midnight. Now, it's set at 90 seconds to midnight, the closest it's ever been. From nuclear disaster to environmental threats to food and water crises, find out how mankind is destroying itself 1 second at a time. If you haven't listened to my podcast, you should.
Devil is on his way. Devil is on his way, motherfucker. The devil gonna make you pay. Fall to your knees. Devil is on his way. Fall to your knees. Devil gonna make you pay. Fall to your knees. Devil is on his way.
Hey, y'all. Welcome back to Mountain Murders.
I'm Heather.
And I'm Dylan.
Hey, Dylan. How are you?
I'm doing great.
Did you have a happy Halloween?
I did.
Was it spooktacular?
It was spooktacular.
So here we are the day after Halloween. Got a little bit of that post-Halloween hangover. Had too much candy.
It's always the saddest day.
I ate like a big bag of nerd gummy clusters, and I regret it.
But you don't regret it while you're eating it.
You don't. You don't. A lot of parents out there getting their kids to pay the candy tax.
Oh, yeah.
Mom and dad get to kind of sort through. You get all the good treats out.
Well, that in the
candy tax.
In the name, well, it's in the name of safety. We check your candy, and what we're doing is we're culling the best candy for us. We decide on things like, oh, you don't need this. It's going to stick in your teeth because, whatever. And we just want our own. It's a candy tax.
I love, there's always the fear mongering at Halloween. When we were kids, it was you're going to find razor blades in your candy apples, in your candy. You got to watch out, right? And now it's beware. Someone might put marijuana, THC, edibles in your kid's candy. And I'm like, no one's doing that.
No one is going
to waste their good marijuana on a kid.
I can't imagine.
It's not going to happen, folks.
That's the new urban myth.
I know. It's kind of funny to me because I'm like, no.
Yeah. But I think it's safe to say, and any of our listeners who partake will likely agree that edibles are expensive. And you're not just going to give them away to some kid who has not helped you pay for the edibles.
No.
Yeah.
No, and we all know how, high kids act. Like want to fight and stuff. I'm just kidding. I don't know.
I would fight a high kid.
I've never been around a high kid, so I don't know. Okay, Dylan. Oh, we're a little late with this week's main case. Been busy week for us here at Mountain Murders, but we're trying to get back on track. We've got a lot happening. We are going to get back to our West Memphis 3 series on Patreon. We have 2 episodes out. I'm working on episode 3. We're going to get that dropped very soon. Of course, we're heading into the month of November. This case is a little late, so it's kind of taken up, that first week of November. But all month long, after we finish up with today's case, we will be covering family annihilators.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Yeah, we're calling it bloodlines. So it's all about family annihilation and those family crimes.
Which they've always fascinated and horrified me.
Yeah.
Because obviously that's the person, the perpetrator is the one who's supposed to be protecting, supporting, helping their family. But then they are the biggest danger. And the psychology there
Well, then you have parricide, where kids take out their parents,
Right.
which is also equally horrifying.
Well, again, the danger is from within.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, the danger is coming from inside the house,
Well,
right?
you think you're in a house with locked doors and windows and you're safe, and then, hey, the person that you're locked in there with is the one who wants to harm you. I mean, it kind of, like I said, it scares me and fascinates me at the same time.
Right. So November is going to be a busy month for us.
It is, and I can't wait. We're putting the spooky month behind us. It was a fast spooky month.
It was a fast spooky month.
It never lasts long enough. I appreciated the movie and true life coverage we did during the spooky month, and I can't wait for November and the Family Annihilators.
All right, Dylan, are you ready for today's story?
I am. This is a big one. This is a big case, a famous case.
I think this case really impacted our generation.
No, it certainly did. And honestly,
If you're a Gen Xer or you're an elder millennial or you're like me, you're a zennial, because I'm like on the cusp of Gen X and millennial. I'm in that like odd lost year.
right.
Right?
Right. You're in the transition year.
Yeah, this was a big case for us growing up. I think this story was in the forefront of everyone's minds in the 80s. Missing children, the milk cartons, all of that kind of started around this time. And I know this case here really impacted like my parents.
Yes.
You know, like my mom would watch me like a hawk. She was always afraid someone would kidnap me. I mean, it was a big deal. Parents really worried about their kids.
Yeah.
After this story broke.
Yeah. And I think this story was definitely the beginning of that. And it really led to a whole almost like a cultural shift in our country.
It really changed the way people parented, the freedom that kids had. I mean, nowadays, you don't see kids on their bikes riding miles across town.
No, very few.
Playing till after dark. Parents don't know where they are. I mean, it was a huge shift. This case really brought a huge shift, I think, to our society.
And I'm sure our listeners are wondering, what case is that, Heather?
Oh, they've seen the title, Dylan. Adam John Walsh was born on November 14th in 1974 in Miami, Florida. He was the first child born to John and Reve Walsh. The couple married in 1971. John was a rising star in the hotel and hospitality industry. When the young couple felt financially stable, they decided it was time to have a child.
So they responsibly planned it out.
The day Adam was born was, quote, like no other day of my life, said John Walsh. Now, Dylan, you're a proud papa. When your kids were born, do you remember, especially your firstborn, like your feelings about it?
No, I don't remember anything about it. No, obviously it's a special. There's so much going on at that time when that happens to you. You've been through the pregnancy with your partner, and it's almost the anticipation's been building up the whole time, and then boom, it's there, and this little baby's here, and all of a sudden, I think for the man, when the child's born is when it gets real. You know what I'm saying? Obviously you knew
right.
She was pregnant, and you've done what you can to help, but now you can be hands-on. You know, you can hold the baby, you can do for the baby. It's magical.
He was elated to be a father. Reve was equally as enthusiastic about motherhood. As John peered down at his newborn son in the nursery, he felt the way many parents feel, that Adam was the perfect little baby. And I remember thinking that about my firstborn.
Right.
Like from their little toes, their little nose, their little ears, you're like, this is a perfect baby. John's father, Adam, was dying of cancer. So during Reve's pregnancy, he'd really hoped that his father would be able to hang in there long enough to see his grandchild. Adam was named for his grandfather. Adam Sr. wanted nothing more than to be a grandpa and spoke often about how he would take the grandchildren to ball games. He was looking forward to spoiling the grandkids. And I think there's a lot of folks who feel that way, like they cannot wait to be a grandparent.
Well, yeah, because it's different than being a parent. And, I guess you can have a lot more, I don't know. It's just got a different kind of situation.
Well, it's a different experience. I think a lot of folks, when you're older, you are more settled. Maybe you're more financially stable, so you can kind of afford to do lavish trips and like spoil the grandkids when they come over. You buy them a bunch of toys. You get to spend a lot of time with them if you're retired. So it is different, I think, than trying to raise your own children.
Well, yeah, and you don't typically have them full time, so it's almost like you just you're always out to do the fun stuff. You get to be the
fun person.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I don't know what it's like to be a grandma yet, but it sounds exciting. But you are an old peepaw, so.
Yeah, I'm an old peepaw.
And those little girls love you so much.
And
it's really cute.
They're so pretty.
They love their pop. Now, when Adam was still a newborn, John had the chance to fly with him to New York to visit his father. The family had to actually sneak the baby into the hospital. Adam was able to travel to Florida later to visit his grandson again. The family went to Disney World. Everyone in the family had a nickname. It's like one of those families where, it doesn't matter, you're going to get some kind of nickname.
Right.
And Adam's nickname, Adam Jr., became Rooster due to the little noises he'd make. He would throw his head back and kind of make like little baby noises in the playpen. And so they called him Rooster, which I think is cute.
It is.
Eventually, they called him Rooster McCooster, and then finally that became Cooter.
Nice.
And I've seen those evolving nicknames.
The evolution of Cooter.
Yeah, because Rufus even has like nicknames that have evolved over the years.
Right. You got Rufus, Roofy Doodle, Doodle Bug.
Yeah, Baby Doodle. Sometimes when he's a bad boy, I call him the Roodle.
Oh.
It's like a Rufus.
Because he's a rude doodle.
He's a Roodle.
Damn.
Yeah. Sometimes he's just a little shit. Right now he's being a sweet boy.
Yes, he's been missing us. We've been on the go, and he insisted on sitting in my lap. He is our co-host today.
Yes. He is the lap podcaster.
He's a silent partner.
He is. Adam was the center of the universe as far as his parents were concerned. Reve stayed at home with her son and was a devoted mother. The new parents watched him constantly and slept with him. Like they put him in the bed. They did co-sleeping. A lot of parents, I think, do that.
Yeah.
With their little one. A good-natured baby, Adam was described as quite mellow. He didn't really go through the terrible 2s or 3s. People always commented on what a well-behaved little boy he was. He never threw tantrums, and from an early age, his parents didn't mind taking him to restaurants because he was so well-behaved.
Oh, wow.
Adam was described as a bright little boy. He was full of energy, sensitive, friendly, and remarkably empathetic for his age. John called his son a little old soul. Adam had big brown eyes, sandy hair, and a cute smile. He's missing a little tooth in his picture. It's so adorable. Adam was like a lot of children who grew up in the 1980s. He loved riding his bike around the neighborhood, Legos, playing outside, and obsessed with Star Wars. That franchise had a hold on our generation, Dylan.
Well, yeah, it was a very big deal. And I think it changed movies. It certainly opened up almost it's not like it invented sci-fi, but it brought sci-fi mainstream, if you will.
Every boy I know who's now a man in my age group, they love Star Wars. Well, and it's like they love it, but they really love it.
Well, yeah, it was incredibly well done on a shoestring budget by some unknowns, basically unknown people. And, I think it holds up to this day, the effects and just the overall story arc.
Adam would often pretend to play as Luke Skywalker, saving the galaxy, battling with his imaginary lightsaber. He had a Chewbacca doll, Sandstorm Trooper vehicles, and he loved Princess Leia. He had every Star Wars toy made at the time, according to his parents. Though there was an elementary school next door to their home in Hollywood, Florida, the Walshes sent Adam to St. Mark's, which was a private Lutheran school about a half a mile away. He played t-ball, then later Little League. Adam loved baseball. The only thing he loved more than baseball was the water, and at a young age, Adam started to learn surfing.
Oh, that's cool.
Now, John was into surfing. John also did like scuba diving, snorkeling, a diver. So, of course, his love of the water kind of, I guess, boiled over in his son.
Well, and that's natural because they're around you as they grow up. You're doing these things, enjoying these hobbies, and it's almost natural for them to want to follow in your footsteps.
Plus, you live at the beach.
Well, yeah.
I mean, how nice, right? July 27th of 1981 started like any normal day. When John woke up, Adam was still sleeping. He had gone to a movie the night before with John's friend, Jimmy Campbell. They stayed out later than John had liked. Jimmy spent a lot of time at the Walsh home and filled in when John was away, kind of taking Adam places, playing with him. They actually nicknamed this friend Dudley Do-Right.
Okay.
Because he was like such a good guy. And he really had a special bond with this little boy. Like, just adored him. He was kind of like the bonus uncle.
Well, it just seems like they had a large family, and it's almost like this young Adam was at the center of it and had a lot of adoring family members, right?
Yeah. Being the first grandchild, like, he was definitely, I think, doted upon aunts and uncles, grandparents, for sure. Reve had celebrated her 33rd birthday just a few days before and needed to renew her driver's license. She had planned to run errands that day, including shopping at Sears, which was at the local mall. Now, she'd wanted to buy a pair of brass barrel lamps for the living room and noted that they were on sale at Sears. Reve was going to drop off a tuition check for Adam's school as well. So, got a couple errands to run. Sounds like a normal, kind of a typical normal day, right? She had a 1 o'clock appointment at her gym. Adam was going to be staying with John's mother, his gram, that afternoon.
Okay.
So got a few errands, and then Adam's going to get to go hang out with Grandma. Mom's going to the gym. From what I understand, Reve had kind of gotten into bodybuilding and was like lifting weights and, really into fitness. Now, Adam watched Sesame Street. Reve brought him some clothes to wear, consisting of a pair of green running shorts, a short-sleeved Izod shirt. It was like white, red, and green. He also wore a captain's hat, which was his favorite. And the thing is, it was not some like little cheap rinky-dink costume hat you find at a tourist, like a Wings or something, This was actually like a pretty expensive captain's hat.
So it's a real captain's
Yeah.
hat. Okay.
Yes, and he wore this. He loved it. I think that's adorable.
It is adorable.
He's walking around looking like David Lee Roth.
It makes me want a captain's hat.
I used to have a captain's hat, but it was cheap, costumey, and it broke.
Yeah, well, that's what you get.
Yeah. Well, I actually had worn it to be David Lee Roth when I was a drag king.
That does not surprise me.
You're welcome. Let's see here. Adam was told to put on his sneakers, but instead he had worn a pair of yellow flip-flops. And, kids do that. You say put on your shoes, and then sometimes they put on the most impractical pair.
Well, they go with what's easy, right? I don't blame them.
Sometimes.
Yeah.
I mean, I was not that kid. I would go put on like a pair of cowboy boots. My mom would be like, with your Easter dress? Yes.
You're clomping around in some boots.
Yeah. This is what I'm wearing to the pool. Yeah. Reve arrived at the mall after dropping off the check at St. Mark's. They drove to the shopping mall, which was only about a mile away. Hollywood's mall was a typical suburban mall built in 1964, and at the time, Sears was the largest store in the mall, taking up more than half the square footage.
Yeah, Sears was just a huge operation, right? I mean, you could get...
Sears was like the store.
And it had been for many years.
Sears and Roebuck.
Because even before when the modern day and the malls and things like that you had the Sears catalog.
And that was a big deal.
It was a big deal. I'm sure a lot of people remember, that was a little before my time, but a lot of kids remember picking their Christmas out of the Sears catalog.
I picked my Christmas out of the Sears catalog. My grandma, my Nana loved. She was, she was busy. She didn't have a lot of time, I guess, to go shopping. And she ordered a lot of stuff from Sears catalog.
Yeah.
And pennies. She called it her pennies. She loved pennies. So she would have those catalogs. And at Christmas, they would get the Christmas, wish book or whatever.
Yeah.
And so I could show her some of the things I wanted.
Yeah. And they would just order it right up.
It was always Barbies.
It was like the, predecessor to like Amazon or something like that.
Yeah. And it was a big deal. You got the Sears catalog. It was like you turn, page by page. scoping out like everything they offered,
Yeah.
even things you weren't interested in.
Well, no, but you're just looking through. It was very colorful, right?
But they
colored
sold
pictures.
everything.
They had a little bit of
I mean,
everything.
for those who don't remember Sears, or it was like not really part of your experience because they did close, and I think it kind of fell out of fashion
Yeah.
in the later years. But you could buy electronics, a home bedding. You could buy furniture at Sears. Tools, the Craftsman tools were like a really big deal.
Yeah.
Clothes, shoes.
Lawnmowers. I mean, they had every
just anything you could think of,
home improvement.
you could buy it at Sears.
There's a certain style of chain link fence that Sears installed. It has like a ridges on the top rail and post. I mean, it's just they did everything.
I think back in the day, you could order a house from the Sears catalog.
I'm sure you could.
I think you could.
And finance it, right?
Like these little blueprint, like little houses. Yeah. Little kits. So in this mall, there was a Radio Shack. Now that's a blast from the past.
Yeah, Radio Shacks, another store that went the way of the dinosaurs.
A food court. Tom McCann Shoes, which is also another blast from the past.
I don't remember that one.
My mom wore Tom McCann shoes when I was younger. Like when she was teaching, I guess they were kind of comfortable.
Oh, okay.
They were just like very sensible shoes.
Sensible, but still semi-professional looking kind of thing.
Yeah. A luggage store, a Woolworth lunch counter. Gosh, did you ever eat at a Woolworth lunch counter?
No.
I did. When I was growing up, there was a Woolworth store in the Asheville Mall, and they had a lunch counter.
So what are we talking? Hot dogs, hamburgers?
Soup, grilled
Sandwiches.
cheese. Yeah.
Okay.
That kind of stuff. It was kind of like comfort stuff, like the grilled cheese.
Right.
Yeah, just kind of easy peasy lunch items. There was a deli known to locals as the German Deli, a Walden Books, and a barber shop. So, like, maybe not exactly the mall of today.
So this is like a small mall.
Yeah, pretty small, basic little mall. Do people even shop at malls anymore?
I think so. Well, you would know. You go to the mall sometimes.
Yeah, it's
when
always dead.
you're-
I mean, I really don't go that often, but I have noticed when I do, like, stop by the mall for something, like if I've ordered online and it ships to the store, I'll go pick it up. It doesn't seem like it's very busy. Like,
No.
mall culture just isn't a thing anymore.
It's true, but if you'll go, I've noticed if you go in like the big players that are still there, Belk's, things like that, J.C. Penney's, if they're even still open.
They are open.
Dillard's.
Macy's, yeah.
Those will typically be pretty, you see people in there, but you don't see people kind of, walking, trying out the whole mall.
Just like making a day of it. I think going to the mall was kind of like a whole day.
Well, and think about it.
Like when I was growing up, if you went to the mall on a Saturday, it was like the whole day.
It was yeah.
You go to the mall, you're going in all the stores, even if you're not buying anything.
You're looking.
You went to look.
You're shopping.
You would eat something at the food court.
You get your favorite thing at the food court,
Yeah.
or Sbarro's pizza or whatever. What's that? Yeah, Orange Sickle or something like that. What is
Orange
it?
Julius. Orange Sickle.
Orange Julius or whatever,
Right.
But it was typically something only at the mall, right? Which I think, if I'm not mistaken, Chick-fil-A started out as just one of those mall kiosk
That makes
restaurants. But
The cookies at the mall cookies are so good.
you had limited options back then as far as retail and shopping, and the fact that all these different things were together in a very walkable, situation. It was cool, right?
Well, and there were arcades. I mean, there were things for young people to do. A lot of times the mall would have a movie theater attached.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah, but nowadays there's so many options for shopping. A lot of it's done online. You got just so many different options, and I think that's why the mall culture died.
Revate parked near the north side of the mall by a receiving dock. This was her usual parking spot. I think everybody has kind of a favorite area where they park.
Where the
when they
entrance
go to
you
the
use?
mall.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, I know I definitely do.
Because if I go to one, go in a way I don't usually, I'm just told I don't have any idea where I'm at.
Well, I know like the handful of stores that I want to go
Yeah.
into. Usually like the H&M is probably one of the only mall stores. I'm like, okay, I'm going to H&M. So I park wherever, like whatever entrance is closest.
You know, I used
But
to.
I'm a creature of habit. Like, I will always park in the same parking spot.
Yeah, I used to like cruising through the Hot Topic or Spencer's, but I guess maybe I'm just too old for that now.
Yeah, I don't know what half of it is.
Yeah.
I mean, Spencer's has still got, like, the horror shirts and stuff.
Yeah.
The Steve Rhodes shirts.
Yeah, but they only, they only go up to a certain size, you know? They don't want to accommodate us bigger people.
Yeah, I know.
I don't understand why a lot of these stores, and we'll get back to the story, but a lot of these stores act like everyone's tiny. You know, look,
Well, they do. And I mean, if you look at statistics and demographics, like the majority of Americans are, I mean, we know, obese, overweight, and they just don't bring big sizes out.
American Eagle, I don't have a chance of fitting any clothes. And even when I, lose some weight and are in better shape, just my shoulders.
You're big boned.
I'm big boned, and it's just not going to work. None of it. None of the shirts, none of the T-shirts. It really drives me crazy.
Well, I know. I was telling you the story. So Thursday, I had ordered a coat, had it shipped to the store, went to pick up my jacket, and happened upon a pair of pants that I had seen on the website. If you're interested, I was at the Boot Barn. So I found these pants online, and they were like sort of bell-bottom jeans, and they had fringe.
Yeah.
So I needed these pants,
You
right?
love fringe.
I do. I fucking love fringe. And I was like, oh man, these pants are so badass. And they're in the store, because I was curious about, like, do they have any stretch to them?
Yeah, you want to touch, taste,
Are they
and
too
feel it.
long for me? Because I'm short.
Yeah.
So most pants, are 4 or 5 inches too long for my little hobbit legs. I go over, and the entire rack was like size 2s. Like, they had probably 15 pairs of size 2s. I wish I could fit into a size 2.
Well, and I know there's women out there and men, I'm sure, that wear a size 2, but
I was just thinking, like, if you had some more sizes here, you might sell more of these pants.
right.
So I don't understand. Everything in that store was like all very, very small sizes.
I don't get it.
Anyway, Revette parked near the north side of the mall. Like I said, that was her usual parking spot. The entrance into Sears kind of went past receiving and the catalog desk. I just was laughing at the catalog desk because, again, that's such a blast from the past.
Another thing is layaways. You remember layaways?
Yeah.
It was such a big deal.
Oh, man, you go to Kmart. Yeah, they got the whole layaway department.
You pick all this stuff out, but then you don't get it yet. But you can go with your mom or dad to the store and make the payments.
I actually think layaway was such an awesome idea. I mean, it's a really good way for parents, like for Christmas shopping, for example.
Well, it's a good way to already have everything locked in. You don't have to worry about scrambling around during the busiest part of the season.
You pay your little payment on it.
Yeah, and you have everything already done. You have all your Christmas there. I think it's a really great idea.
I agree, Dylan. So once they go past this catalog desk, they're in the middle of the toy department. So I'm saying you're like slab dab in the middle of this toy department. And guess what, Dylan? There was a really big attraction in the toy department. It was a television monitor displaying video games.
Wow,
I know. But back then, video games were brand new.
yes.
In 1981, you would have likely found Donkey Kong, Galaga, Castle Wolfenstein,
Yeah, I think the only system then would have been an Atari 2600.
Tempest, and Centipede. When did Coleco come out?
I'm no expert.
Because that was early 80s, I believe, as well.
Well, it's funny the video game craze started and it really grew into just this market, retail juggernaut, and then all of a sudden it fell off in such a crazy way that it really threw a lot of people for a loop.
It fell off.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Famously, the E.T. video game for the Atari was what happened is
Because I was going to say, like, are you kidding? Because video games are so prevalent nowadays.
Well, no, it came back.
Yeah.
But the bubble burst, and they started pushing people and the developers faster and faster because what you started happening was merch connected to a movie, right? And so like toys. And then video games were another element that could be connected to a movie. And so they wanted to have the product available when the movie came out. And so they stopped caring about quality, if that makes sense.
Yes.
Famously, they dumped like I don't know, millions of these ET game. The game was horrible. I remember trying it back in the day. It was just a terrible game. It didn't make sense. It really sucked. And they made all these, a ton of copies, and then the bubble burst. And, well, at a certain point in the marketplace, all the kids that are going to buy a system have a system, right? And so you're not going to sell any consoles, and then your only hope is to have a hot game. And so yeah, I mean, at a certain point, there's no one left to buy your product because it was so popular.
Yeah, I remember kind of in the 80s there being like a lull, and then Nintendo came out.
Well, yeah.
And kind of like sparked a new interest.
Well, certainly.
Okay. So the lamp department was on the other side of the toy area, Dylan. It was actually just around the corner and at the end of the aisle to the left. From the video game display to the lamp department was only about 75 feet, according to Reve.
Okay, so there you got just you'll see it right now. You can go on Walmart. There's a video game console set up. The kids are over there. You can test a game out or get a feel for the controller. They love it. They're always hanging out around that area.
Yes. It was out of her line of sight, but again, it's not very far away. There was a group of kids standing at the monitor playing with the joystick. So it has to be Atari.
Well, yeah, that was the only system.
I just always associate the joystick with the Atari. Now, Adam begged, per usual, to stay and play the games. This was something he really liked when they went in Sears. He always wants to play the game. Reve told him she's going to be right back. She's like, stay right here. Don't leave. I'll be back in a few minutes. Not abnormal.
No.
For the time.
No, dude, as soon as we go in a store, I tell, my mom, I'm going to the toys. I'm going to the toy aisle. That's where you're going to find me.
Yeah.
And she'd go do her thing, and she'd come, and you'd be at the toy aisle. There'd be random other kids in the toy aisle. Somebody might bust a little rubber ball, Yeah,
y'all be playing.
You're playing, you're riding a box you ain't even supposed to be. I mean,
yes.
it's going down in the toy aisle.
It was. Meet me in the club. It's going down.
And then your mom would come by and collect you when she was done, finally.
Yeah, absolutely.
And you would try to beg her for some, small toy that you had your eye on, and sometimes you won. And, sometimes she was like, yeah, sure, let's get that. And it was such a cool feeling because you really feel like you came up.
I got a Matchbox car.
Yeah.
I'm very lucky. So she tells him to stay right there. Reve didn't really worry much about Adam because he was not a child who wandered off. If he said he would be at the video game, she could count on finding him there. Reve went to the counter at the lamp department after being unable to find the particular set she was looking for. She spoke to a clerk who told her these lamps were out of stock. However, Reve was able to leave her name and ask the woman to call her when the lamps came back in stock. So this does not sound like a very lengthy interaction.
No, she's probably, 5 minutes maybe?
Yeah.
And she's not that far. She's literally almost within earshot of her son, just around the corner. And again, I don't think this is back then would be viewed as a negligent move on her part.
No, not at all. When Reve returned to the video game display, there were no kids. The group had dispersed, and there was no sign of her son Adam.
Now, this I could not imagine because, she's fully expecting him to be there. Probably expecting most of the kids that were there because it hasn't been 5 minutes. And, where would they be?
She went up and down the aisles. The toy department wasn't large, but she could not find her son. She spotted another child wearing a captain's hat similar to the one Adam was wearing. She kind of went over to him and was like, hey, have you seen another little boy wearing a hat like that? And, of course, the boy's like, very young. And he doesn't say anything. He just pointed toward the door.
Okay.
So that's got to be jarring. Your son went outside? Like, is that what you're telling me?
Yeah.
You're right. Reve knew this little boy must be confused because Adam would not go outside the store by himself. She found a toy clerk and asked if the woman had seen Adam. The clerk said she had not. Reve continued asking people if they had seen her son. She kept hearing, oh, he probably just wandered off, or, well, he could be out in the mall.
Okay.
Reve tried explaining that Adam would not go off on his own. She knew her son, and it seemed no one in the store was really taking her seriously.
Well, and from their viewpoint, that's probably not the first time that someone's come up and their child's been misplaced, if you will. You know what I mean? And then likely quickly found somewhere. Wandering around.
Well, I think it also just speaks to the attitude that the concept of missing children just wasn't a thing.
Well, people didn't think like that.
No, it was like, oh, well, he's going to turn. I mean, he'll be here in a minute. It
Well,
was not this panic.
No, and I'm sure his mother's already panicking.
Well, yeah,
because she does know her child. She does know he's not typically going to wander off or go somewhere when he's told to stay in one place. And but she's the only one feeling that way, right? Everyone else is nonchalant about it.
Reve was told she could page Adam from the customer service desk, but she was afraid to leave the spot where he had been because he might come back. She was torn about what to do. No one was really helping her. And like I said, Dylan, at the time, missing children was not really like a thing. And people kept just saying like, I'm sorry, but no one was offering to help her. There was not a single store employee who was like, let me look for your son, or any of the other shoppers who were like, well, let's go look for this kid.
Right.
The store, there was no protocol, like let's shut the doors, seal the doors off, and do a search for this boy.
Well, no, you go right now and in a Walmart or anywhere. I've been in a Walmart where they actually called out a code Adam.
We'll talk more about that in part 2.
But I'm saying I've seen it in action, and they literally have employees go straight to the doors, lock them, monitor the doorways, and
everybody starts like doing a sweep of the store.
Yeah, for real. And that's a good thing.
Reve felt like everyone was just staring at her like she's a crazy person who had lost her child.
Right.
But no one's helping. I mean, that's the part I guess I'm blown away by, is like not a single person offers to help this woman. Then Reve spotted John's mother, Graham, out past the garden center. Reve ran over and asked if Adam was with her. For a moment, she felt a sigh of relief seeing the grandma, like, oh, he must be with her. Oh, like he spotted his grandma. He's gone with grandma. But Graham had not seen Adam. I mean, Graham didn't even know they were going to be at the mall.
Okay, so they didn't come there together.
No, she didn't know they were going to be at Sears. She, so she's just as surprised to see Reve as Reve is to see Graham. And then to learn that, no, Adam's not with me. He's lost.
Right.
Graham had not seen Adam. Reve and Graham began searching for Adam. They went to every store in the mall looking for him. Of course, we all know Reve is feeling a sense of panic. She knew deep down that her son was not in the mall, but she's still going into every store up and down the aisle, like hollering his name, looking for her kid. She just knew he would never leave the Sears store. So the concept that he's like in Walden Books, I mean, she's just like, I know he would not leave the store.
Right, but it's almost like that when you've lost something that's important and you start looking in the same place twice. It's almost like an irrational behavior.
It's just going to start appearing again, yeah.
But you just it's like you want to at least do something, even if you know that what you're doing is not being effective.
Again, well-meaning people just kept assuring her, oh, he'll be back. Now, at the time Reve was dressed for her scheduled workout, she had on a leotard, a pair of gym shorts, sneakers, and socks. Her outfit will later be up for discussion.
Really?
Like, people watching the news when she's interviewed will be like, oh, well, she was dressed really inappropriately. And that, I mean,
okay.
Almost like because she's wearing a leotard and shorts.
Right.
Because she looks like she's going to do her Jane Fonda.
No, but
that's the reason her child's missing.
I can picture this outfit she has on. We're talking early 80s aerobic outfit.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just amazing to me that people will always find some reason to be a hater or bring up some ridiculous idea.
Yeah.
Again, like her outfit is why her kid is missing. Like, what are you talking about?
Well, see, it just goes.
Why do you care what she's wearing?
That goes to prove that people act like the internet makes people away, but I don't think that's the case at all.
They've been that way.
They've been that way.
Now you just get to hear about it.
And now the internet just provides a way of everyone connecting together where you just see this dumbass saying the dumbest stuff. But people have always been dumb like that, or say mean stuff or whatever.
Well, again, it's like if she had been wearing something demure or more appropriate, her son wouldn't be missing. So, yeah, people haven't really evolved much, I guess, since 1981. Now, Reve had Adam's first grade photo in her wallet. In the picture, he's wearing the same red and white Izod shirt that he had been wearing that day.
Okay.
Right?
Well, that's
so
handy.
She's showing it to people, like, this is my son. He's wearing this shirt. Like, this is what he looks like exactly today. And again, no one has seen the boy. Finally, an announcement went over the loudspeaker at Sears. All it said was, Adam Walsh, please come to customer service. Because, a 6-year-old knows where customer service is.
Yeah. What? How about, sorry, customer, sorry to bother you, but please be on the lookout for a 6-year-old child in a black and white or red and white striped shirt with a captain's hat on.
And a missing tooth. Yeah, he's about 3 feet tall. I mean, how hard is that? And Renee's thinking the same thing. She's like, he's 6. He's not going to know where customer service is. The Sears store was woefully unprepared for a missing child. They had no protocol at the time. Reve went back to the toy department, but had similar luck, not locating Adam. And again, just no one has seen this boy. She went to the receiving desk. 20 minutes after the first announcement, a second was made. It was like, Adam Walsh, please meet your mother in the toy department.
Okay, well, at least maybe he knows where the toy department is.
Reve and Graham, at this point, I mean, they're just doing everything they can, and they've been looking for over 90 minutes.
And they've checked everywhere, I'm sure, in the immediate area.
By now, she is scared because she's looked everywhere for her son, including in her parked car twice. Finally, someone called the Hollywood Police Department, and it was actually only a few hundred yards away from the shopping mall. A few squad cars pulled in. An officer took down the child's information and told Reve they would place a be on the lookout for him. But she's hysterical by now. She's trying to stay calm, but inside she is crumbling, and she asks police, quote, what do you do in a situation like this? And they told her, we don't really know. We only have experience with runaways.
So, I mean, this can't be the first kid to go missing. I mean, I guess this really shines a light on the fact that this was not as much trouble as people have nowadays with reporting missing persons, getting the police to actually take action. Back then, it's like they act like it's just never happened before, and I know that can't be true.
Right. Sorry, I had to take a drink. She told them, like, he's a 6-year-old. He did not run away.
Right.
But again, the officer said, well, maybe he ran away.
Would you guys have a fight?
Another officer suggested that maybe Adam had walked home. Reve told them the house was a mile away and he did not know how to get home. He would not walk from the mall home.
That's silly.
Again, he's 6. He does not have a good sense of direction. He does not know street names.
No.
He can probably barely read, right? At
No,
this point.
you're counting on your parents to tell you every single move to make.
I mean, shit, my 17-year-old daughter got off the bus at the wrong spot and calls me, and she's like a block or two away from the house, like lost.
She doesn't even know.
I'm like, girl, you don't even know how to get home. Like, we live right off of the main street. Just turn off main, it's like she was so lost.
But we walk around there all the time
I
with
know. Her. But she didn't, I'm just saying, my goofy 17-year-old daughter couldn't get home a block away. You're expecting a 6-year-old
right
to know how to get home? She called a family friend to ask if Adam was there. She knew he wasn't, but she's just doing something, right? She walked around the parking lot again. She checked dumpsters. She's looking inside every single parked car. Reve knew she was grasping at straws here, but the situation was like a bad dream. She didn't know what to do, but she felt like she had to do something.
Right.
Graham got into her car and drove the route towards the Walsh home, but she did not see Adam. She asked people who lived in the neighborhood about Adam, but no one had seen him. Graham had a house key, so she goes inside the house to check, knowing good and well he's not in there because he doesn't have a house key. He wouldn't be able to get into the locked house. But again, they're just so panicked.
Right. They're just on autopilot at this point.
She searched every room. She looked in the closets, under the beds.
Well, I think this just shows the desperation that they're feeling, right? They're doing these almost ridiculous things that in your reasonable mind, you know for a fact there's no way he's here. But they're that desperate, just in the outside crazy chance that he stole a car and drove home. I mean, it's just, it's ridiculous to even think.
Just talking about it is making me feel anxious.
Yeah.
Because that sense of fear and panic, if you're a parent, at some point you've experienced it.
Even for a brief moment.
Yes. Even if your kid is out of your sight for just a few minutes, it is the worst fucking panic to come over you.
And every time we talk about a case like this, I can't imagine when they start looking. I guess one of the more recent ones we did with that little girl in the neighborhood who ended up being like in the neighbor's house.
Oh, Marcia Trimble?
The basement. Or she was in that woodshed. Or
Marcia Trimble.
Just, I cannot imagine, because I felt that panic for just a moment. And then boom, there they are. It's okay. Or the other parent had them and you didn't know it, whatever. But I cannot imagine being hours into that feeling, because it would just keep ratcheting up, right? Just like a darkness growing inside of you or something. It's so scary.
When John arrived at the mall, he was surprised to find there were no detectives, no TV crews, no flashing lights. I mean, in his brain,
he expects a scene.
This is going to be some big deal.
Yeah.
Right? But there were only a few uniformed cops just kind of standing around. I mean, they're not really doing anything. They're not actively looking for this child.
They're not setting up a perimeter. They're not controlling
entrances.
No,
not at all. As night approached, the family knew there was no reason to stay at the mall. I mean, they've been there for hours. The mall's starting to close. They left Reve's car unlocked in the parking lot. She made a little bed in the back seat and wrote a note telling him, "Stay in the car. Mommy and Daddy are looking for you."
Oh, my God.
This absolutely broke my heart.
Jeez.
To think about making this little bed, hoping that he's going to wander back and get in the car.
Just in case he is outside somewhere and finds his way back to the car, she wants to make sure he has a comfortable little spot. God.
Put some of his little toys back there.
That's almost going to make me cry.
I know. It
what the hell?
Makes me want to cry. Now, Reve shared that a young Sears employee who was maybe 17 had approached her at some point, like during the confusion, saying something like, "Well, I hope he wasn't one of the ones I ordered out of the store." And Reve didn't really know what this girl meant at the time, and just kind of, this comment just sort of, she dismissed, or it kind of just rolled off because she was concerned with other things and not really paying attention.
So now she's had a minute to think about it, right?
Right. So she's kind of like, what did she mean? Right. But Reve leaves for their home. John goes across the street to the police department. John, along with two friends, end up walking the mile home. They go in the police department. They're just like, "Hey, what's going to happen from here?"
Right. What do we do next?
And they're like, "Well, we have told our officers they're out patrolling. If they spot him, they know to be looking for this kid." But that's about it.
So this does she revisit the conversation with this Sears employee?
We're going to get to that in a minute.
Okay.
So John, along with his two friends, decide they're going to walk the mile back home. I mean, John knows that Adam he did not leave the store and walk home, but it's just what else can we be doing? They used flashlights and called out Adam's name. It was like canvassing the area, the three of them. By now, friends and family have gathered at the Walsh household. Someone had called a radio station to report Adam missing. Friends heard the report and started driving around the neighborhood. Truck drivers were sharing Adam's information across CB radio channels. People began searching the neighborhood on foot, on bicycles, and in cars.
So the community is mobilizing.
So already you do have groups of people mobilizing. Citizen Crime Watch, a local group, organized a search that night. 47 members searched the city on foot until about 3 a.m.
Wow.
I mean, people, the family and just regular citizens are really the ones, I believe, that took this seriously and like led the charge in trying to find this boy.
Well, look, in the modern day, here in America, we have so much going on, the social issues, the arguments and the disagreements. But even to this day, I think it's one of the best qualities of the American public is we can rally around each other.
Especially around children, I think.
Well, yeah, just a situation. We come together. You'll have someone. You'll have some people out searching, and you'll have somebody worried about. Well, they're going to get hungry. You'll have a group just covering. Hey, we'll get the food. We'll start pulling resources, money, time, labor.
Let's get some donations.
Yeah. And I really think that is one of the best qualities of the American people. And I'm certainly not saying that no one else in the world does that. Just from my view inside of America.
Yeah, people were looking for the little boy in backyards, canals, dumpsters, under cars, in sheds, garages.
Everywhere.
Just everywhere, Dylan. The police brought out search dogs. They had a boat and a rescue helicopter that were utilized during these early search efforts. Reve left on bicycle to look for her son. She rode down to the mall. She peered in every store window and even climbed up on the roof, calling down ventilator shafts.
Oh my gosh.
For her son.
Damn.
A great deal of people were concerned, but no one had seen Adam Walsh. This is just a nightmare. Tips and leads started rolling into the police station as well as the Walsh's home phone. Reports of sightings started coming in from West Palm Beach to Miami, but sadly none of the callers had actually seen Adam. Graham moved into the middle guest room that night, the bedroom. She felt like she had to stay there for support.
Okay.
Also, John and Reve are out searching, so someone needs to be there, like manning the phones.
Well, yeah,
right?
That's the line of communication, right?
And as hours passed, the feeling just kept getting worse for these folks. The next morning, the Hollywood Sun-Tatler featured a front-page headline about Adam's disappearance. The Miami News ran a small item about it as well. On Tuesday morning at 10 a.m., John and Reve went to the news station to make an on-air plea. John had hoped law enforcement might have some leads or progress to report, but instead they asked him, "Well, do you have any ideas, John?"
What does that even mean?
I don't know, Dylan. I mean, I suppose they were looking for some creative ideas. I really don't know.
It's like a plumber showing up at my house. I got a problem, and he shows up, and I'm like, okay, what's next? And he's like, oh, I don't know.
What do you think we should do?
What do you think we should do?
Yeah, go to my brain surgeon, and he's going to be like, I don't know. What do you think we ought to do?
You'd be flabbergasted to get that from anyone. I mean, so getting this from law enforcement in this situation, I just don't even know how you could hold it together.
Reve and John made another tearful plea on TV for their son. This time saying they were willing to negotiate, like if Adam had been kidnapped. They offered a $5,000 reward for his return. A flyer had been distributed by now. The police had made up this flyer, and it had been sent out to postal workers, taxi drivers, and Florida Power and Light workers.
Okay.
John didn't like the basic flyer police had created, so with his marketing background, John made a flyer that had more detailed information. It provided a photo of Adam in his T-ball uniform. Family agreed that picture or that photograph looked the most like Adam, like it just really embodied him. So it's a very famous photo by now. If you look up Adam Walsh, this is going to be like the top photo you see of him in his little uniform. 50,000 of these flyers were printed. Someone donated the money to pay for the cost of printing them. The community was starting to rally. Eastern and Delta Airlines delivered Adam's posters to airports nationwide.
Well, and this is long before the internet and all that. So this is everything's physical. Right? Physical media, hand to hand.
Well, John has a lot of connections. I mean, he's worked in hospitality and tourism, hotel industry.
Well, he knows how to get the word out.
And he's done like marketing. He has that background. So he kind of does know how to network. And he has a lot of friends who also have access and contacts. So, like, for example, a friend was like, well, why don't we get this information to the airlines?
Which is smart.
Circulate around airports in
Yeah.
case someone's grabbed him and they're on a plane.
Well, that information could travel very quickly through the airline industry, right?
So, I mean, they really are coming up with some creative, out-of-the-box thinking.
They're creating these almost new ways of thinking about a situation like this
Right.
on the fly.
And that is, we can credit that to John Walsh. I mean, really, he kind of sparked a movement, and we're going to get into a lot more of that in episode 2, part 2 of this. So by week's end, they had printed 150,000 flyers, with 50,000 of those being delivered by a local postal company for free.
Nice.
Yeah. Police were still only saying that Adam was missing. It was as if they did not want to entertain the idea that he could have been abducted.
That's what's blowing me away about this is no one's even mentioning that, right? No one's ever.
His parents are thinking it.
Well, yeah, but I mean,
And John's even saying to law enforcement, like, are we sure maybe someone didn't take him, like he was kidnapped?
so I assume that there is no surveillance around in the store.
1981, no.
God, that sucks, dude.
None.
I just can't even. I'm surprised that I know there were cameras back then. They might have been of a certain quality, and they may have been kind
I
of.
think they were expensive, and it was just not
It's just not something you found
as
in retail.
readily available as today. I think
Gosh,
they were pretty limited.
Be so handy if it had been at least just the entrances.
I mean, honestly, in the 80s, banks didn't even have security camera. Like, I remember small town bank not having any kind of security camera
gosh, it
when
sucks.
I was growing up.
It sucks because that would be so handy.
So again, they're like not really wanting to even acknowledge this idea that he could have been abducted. On Wednesday, this is 48 hours into Adam's disappearance, a police spokesman said they really needed to start hitting the waterways hard.
Okay.
The canals, the different waterways, little swampy areas around. So, you've got people who have like the little boats and whatnot are getting out in the water. He's telling, if you're volunteering to search, let's start looking in waterways. Because it's been 2 days. If something happened and he drowned, this would be the time that like the body would float back up or whatever.
And even now, they're still maybe portraying it as he accidentally got into one of these areas, right? I mean, they're still not really leading with someone could have taken him and killed him.
Right. Now, it wasn't until Thursday that Detective Jack Hoffman, who was assigned to the case as the main detective, made a statement. That's when he said Adam's disappearance, quote, appears to be an abduction.
Okay.
So kids have been missing 3 days. And we're going to finally, after 3 days, say, well, okay.
And we all, us and our listeners, know the problem with that, right? The time. We're in 72 hours in now. That's...
In 72 hours, you could be 1,000 miles away.
Well, yeah.
You could be across the country by now. You could be in Canada by... I mean, it's...
And I'm not saying that as soon as the first contact with authorities, they should have mobilized everything and just, locked the area down. But after an initial search and assessment of the situation, this would have been much handier mindset for them to be in a few hours into it, not a few days.
John and Reve realized that they were not really getting much help from law enforcement. One detective told them, you guys should just turn to Jesus.
Just turn to prayers and thoughts.
Yeah.
Thoughts and prayers.
If you turn to Jesus, your child will return. I mean, that's really what the officer said, was you just got to pray about it.
Okay.
I mean, I get that. But at the same time, John Walsh is like, are you fucking kidding me? Like, that's not what I need to hear from you. You're a police officer. Like, I need you to actually be doing your job.
Right.
Contacting, other agencies, like bigger search, something. I don't need you to tell me I need to pray about it.
No, not right now, bud.
I mean, the parents really just were like, get out there and find my kid. Now, the media picked up on the story. You know, by now we're a couple of days in. It's been a local story, but we're getting some of the bigger, like, state media looking into it. You started having news crews show up, camping outside the Walsh home. But many of these reporters were making mistakes, misreporting the home address or Adam's age. I mean, just sort of basic stuff. Some reporters called John a marketing executive, which kind of painted them as maybe being in a higher income bracket than they actually were.
Oh, really?
So he's like, well, if somebody asks for like $1 million, I mean, we don't have that. Reve also was driving a checker cab. That was her car, like this antique vintage checker cab.
Oh, really?
And they were calling it like a custom vehicle, which again, they're trying to, I mean, it just made the family sound like they were a lot more wealthy than they were. And they're just middle class folks, working folks, you know, they don't have lots of money. And the reward money that has been put out there has been like donations and friends and family like coming together.
Right.
Right.
So in their mind, they're if there is some kind of ransom forthcoming, you're making us seem like we are way more affluent than we are.
Right.
Which would be a scary feeling to have, right?
I mean, they live in a, you know, like a 3-bedroom, 2-bath house. They're very much so just middle class.
Because if you're even having to think, hey, my kid could have been kidnapped and there may be a ransom, the worst thought is that it's more than you can afford, right? I mean, I know it's a terrible way to have to think about it, but you certainly, if someone did come and ask for money, you would want to be able to cover it, right? Because you would give anything to get your child back.
Well, right, yeah.
But then if someone asks for, you know, just some crazy amount of money.
I want $100 billion.
$1 billion.
Yeah.
Yeah, then you can't cover that. So, yeah, I don't know. That's scary to even have to think about.
Well, just the misinformation. I mean, you don't have his right age. You're giving out the family's address, but it's the wrong address. I mean, just kind of basic details are being misreported, which is careless and sloppy.
It is.
On behalf of these news folks.
And it's more detrimental than just not even reporting on it at all.
Family and friends took over different roles. They had like a spokesperson. One of the family friends became the spokesperson and would talk to media. Graham answered telephones. She kept a call log. Another friend gave them money to install a second phone line with a recording device in case somebody called in with a ransom request.
Okay.
That they could record these phone calls. I mean, they're really, like I said, thinking out of the box and thinking smartly about how to handle this.
Yeah, they're trying to prepare for anything.
The reward was eventually bumped up to $25,000, then to $100,000. And this is all money that is being donated by friends, family, businesses.
Right, $500
residents,
here.
Yeah, people in the community, you know, businesses saying, well, we'll put up $10,000 or whatever. Yeah. When Adam's story gained more traction in the press, people from all over joined in the search efforts. Florida's Fish and Freshwater Commission offered a helicopter and 7 more officers to search. Burger King donated food. Airboats and swamp buggies went out to search desolate areas in the Everglades. 300 people alone volunteered to search the Florida Everglades.
And that's amazing.
Disney and Busch Gardens were notified in case someone tried to take Adam there. So they had his flyers up there and all their employees like looking out for this little boy, which is smart thinking.
Well, it is.
You know?
I mean, most kidnappers don't go for a fun day, but
you know, I mean, they're really just trying to get word out the best way they can. And again, I'm saying John had all these connections and many of them were through like hospitality, hotel.
Right.
So that's why some of these places were being targeted. Now, a lot of people had creative ideas, but unfortunately, none of them were panning out. Leads and tips didn't go anywhere. Some of the people who called were just garbage folks saying things like they had Adam and they were going to drop him off at a specific location. And so, of course, law enforcement goes there to get him and no one shows up.
Yeah, it's the kooks, man, and you always get this in any case.
It's just shitty to do that.
And the more publicity a case gets, the more you get that.
And one of the worst things that I think happened to this family, Dylan, I mean, besides obviously their son going missing, is these psychics coming out of the woodwork.
How did I know that's what you were going to say?
Because these people just prey on these families and exploit them, and it's disgusting.
They prey on their desperation and one of the worst, maybe possibly the worst time in their life, and they promise them help when nothing else is working. They're trying all these things, these new ideas, and all these people trying, and they just play on that desperation and dangle hope in front of these families' face, and it's disgusting. And honestly, I think it should be legislated to be made a crime.
Right. And no offense to our psychics out there if we have Miss Cleo's listening in, but y'all never really solve cases, so just stop.
Well, no, maybe they have, but in every case in every story ever in my entire life, there's
never been a psychic to solve a case. Okay,
No.
That's just not. No.
Now, I have seen some psychics that gave an eerily accurate description of maybe the setting where remains or something are found eventually. I mean, I have seen that.
Sure you have, Dylan.
But you could also say that they're using very vague descriptive words.
Well, yeah. I mean, if you're going to find the remains in a wooded area, wow, that really narrows it down for me, right?
Well, yeah, because how
many bodies do you find in a wooded area? It's just, come on. 50 to 60 psychics use this case to get attention. I mean, basically, they're just exploiting this poor mother and father.
For publicity.
And it's really sad because, Reveille is like giving some of these people a chance and kind of getting her hopes up.
Right.
While her husband's like watching these people just taking advantage of his poor wife who's suffering and grieving and traumatized by the situation. And so, he's looking at these people with disgust, and I don't blame him. All the while, the Walsh family, particularly John, seem to be heading up the massive search efforts and organizing the case. Hollywood police seem to be doing very little. So with these massive searches, it's the family who are organizing it and are leading it up and heading it up.
Which is weird.
During this time, John and Reveille didn't really discuss their son's disappearance or the number of possibilities that what could have happened, what might happen. It's like they just couldn't really bring themselves to address certain ideas.
Right.
Though they were both thinking the same thing, and we'll just put it out there. I mean, they're both thinking like, our son might not be alive. We may not get him back.
Well, yeah. I mean, if you said you weren't thinking that at all, then I think you would be lying to yourself. Right?
But I can see how you wouldn't want to just say it out loud.
Yeah.
You don't want to put it out there, but you're thinking it, right? As the days wore on, it was harder for the Walshes to hold on to hope. The longer Adam was gone, the less chance they felt like they were going to have like getting him back. Reveille would go into Adam's room at night, sobbing by his bed. She would lie down, hug his pillow, get his teddy bear, and just be, crying her heart out.
No,
I mean, just so pitiful.
It is.
And, John described like how heartbreaking it was to see his wife going through, he loves her. It's his wife. And the pain she's feeling and just wanting to protect her and be able to take that away from her.
Well, and I'm sure he feels helpless as well because there's nothing he can do. I think when you're with someone, married to someone, or just even a long-term relationship, you want to be able to help them in any situation, right? But when you're in a situation like this where there's literally nothing you can do, you've tried everything. And all the people around you have tried everything, you have to feel helpless.
Well, and I think John, just reading his book and listening to him speak, I think that, he definitely, this is the early 80s, and, he grew up during a certain time when he felt maybe like more traditional types of gender roles, and that his role was head of the household. He's the man. He's the one that needs to keep it together.
The protector.
And he's also the protector, and he needs to be the one to fix this and make it better.
Yes.
And really feeling like the burden of all this is on his shoulders, or that he needs to carry the burden for his wife and for the family.
Right.
So, I think it was really hard for him in a lot of ways. Just being that kind of person that feels like they need to be the one always stepping up, because that seems to just be his nature anyway.
Well, I think he proved that.
Like helping the family and being there for his family.
Well, he actually went on to help the entire nation.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I think he definitely has a heart that's in it. Now, by the second week, John was having trouble saying to his wife, like, Adam might be dead, but he's really starting to think this is the outcome. John had come to the realization that no one was going to keep a 6-year-old boy for 10 days.
Without reaching out and asking for a ransom, right? Because you have to have a motivation to do that. You know what I'm saying? And if you haven't asked for ransom, you have all this publicity nationwide. It's not like they don't know who to get a hold of. They would know damn well who the parents are, how to contact them. And so, yeah, I mean, I think that's the natural conclusion to come to.
You always hear parents say, like, they just have a gut feeling.
Right.
Like a parent might wake up and be like, I knew at that time my child was dead.
Well, yeah, and I think...
What?
Well, I think that's when we're connected by vibrations or wavelengths. I mean, I really believe that, like I'll think about you, or I'll think about something, and you'll like text me right away, or, it goes both ways.
Well, it does, because I'll call you and be like, is everything okay?
Yeah.
And then you'll be like, well, and tell me what happened. It was like, I just know.
Right.
Like I sense like something's wrong.
Yeah.
I got to call Dylan. Something's happened.
Yeah, I know. And so
weird?
I think we definitely are connected in this, I don't know what way it is, but, and I think parents certainly have that connection with their children.
Adam's missing persons case was the biggest in Florida. Now, a few years earlier, there had been a child named Lisa Berry that had vanished from a bowling alley in Fort Lauderdale. 5 days later, her body was found in a field.
It's terrible.
Dr. Ronald Wright, the Broward County medical examiner, brought a book to John, and it was this binder filled with sex offender information. Like, it had various, sheets with the sex offenders in town, where they lived, their photo, their list of charges. John didn't know, like, exactly what Dr. Wright was saying. Like, he puts this book in front of him and is like, we should look through this book.
Right.
And he's like, okay, sex offenders, okay. And he's just like kind of confused. But Wright started to explain to him that there were pedophiles who abused children. He wanted John to look through the binder and see if any of the offenders were familiar, like maybe a gardener or a handyman, some kind of repairman, a cableman, somebody who'd been in the house or had been around Adam. Now, at first, John doesn't really understand this, because he's like never even heard the word pedophile before. Like, what? He's like, what do you mean? And the guy has to explain to him, like, pedophiles abuse children sexually. It's a thing. And he's like, you mean there are multiple people who do this?
Well, yeah.
Like, it was such a strange idea to him.
Well, think about it. This was not openly discussed like it is nowadays.
Right. So, I mean, at first he's just like, doesn't really get, he's not making a connection. So he's like, I don't recognize any of these photos. He's still feeling like a little bit confused. But then it kind of finally, hits him. Like, you're saying one of these monsters could have my son. Right.
And it's probably his brain didn't even want to admit that to itself, I mean, just even the thought of, we were discussing the other day, me and you were discussing just the amount of people, because I really like to think, when I think about a child predator, pedophile, whatever.
It's like a boogeyman.
Yeah.
You want to, you think of it, like, in my opinion, like a boogeyman. Like, it's some fucking monster hiding in a closet boogeyman.
Or something that's just, there can't be that many people that are this evil.
Right.
But in reality,
they're everywhere.
When you see these sites taken down and you see the traffic numbers that they have, and it's insane.
Or just read the local news headlines, because I swear, like, every week there's like some church minister, youth minister, teacher,
Yeah.
band coach, band teacher, someone who has access to kids doing some fucked up shit. And it's so common. And I think this is just what we know. And then when you hear numbers of like people being caught with child sexual material, like CSAM, the numbers are fucking scary.
Well, no, they are. When you see sites that have people from all over the world, so on a planet with billions of people, that statistically means that there's millions of people that are willing to do this, and that just really, it really just turns my stomach to even.
So frightening.
Yeah.
So frightening. So now law enforcement is like telling John and Hervé, like, this is probably who's got your son. So not only are they just like blown away that this is a thing that happens, that there's a book here full of these people just in this county.
Right.
Right?
Yeah.
So you're saying these people are all over the world, and then now you're telling me that's probably who has my son? I mean, what a blow, right?
Yeah, definitely.
And I think we would all be in denial. I mean, none of us want to admit that our child has been taken by some absolute demon of a person. I mean, you know, John admits he was just kind of hoping that maybe some sweet old woman took him home like he was a stray cat.
Or just wanted a kid, so they took your kid.
Right.
But they're taking care of
him. And,
right.
And feeding him, and like they're doing grandma things, baking cookies, and that any day he's going to walk through the door and everything's going to be fine.
Right.
You
Almost
know?
like it's this big misunderstanding.
That's what, yeah. I mean, and I think we would all kind of hope some scenario like that would play out. Now, although Hollywood police weren't doing very much, John understood they were clueless. The department was tiny with limited resources. They had never handled a case like Adam's before and had not organized any kind of large-scale searches. It was completely disorganized. Law enforcement was trying their hardest. They were talking to informants and like shaking down pedophiles and sex offenders in the area.
Okay.
They were really working, but at the same time, they didn't have the resources, and they just really kind of didn't know what they were doing.
Well, and they were just too slow to act, and you can't get that crucial time back. You really can't. There's nothing that can make up for the first 24, 48 hours.
It's very unprepared for this type of situation. So let's backtrack for a moment, Dylan. 4 days after Adam vanished, a security guard named Kathy Schaefer was finally interviewed by police. Now, she's a teenager. I think she's 17 years old at the time. She is working as security at Sears.
Okay.
Kathy told police that on the day Adam went missing, 4 boys, she said there were 2 white kids and 2 black kids playing these video games, and that their behavior kind of got out of hand. They were being really rambunctious. I don't know if they were arguing or fighting.
Or just having too much fun.
But she said she had to separate the kids. So that kind of makes me think maybe they were arguing over who gets to play the game next or something.
Right, which would not be something, that wouldn't be that uncommon, right?
Right. So she's like, I separated these kids and I put them out different doors.
Now, does she remember one of them being Adam in a red and white striped shirt? Does she say that explicitly?
Well, she thought the younger of the white boys might have been Adam.
Okay, but I'm trying to figure out that you have these young kids, right? A handful of young kids. You started arguing or whatever. Cool. You're trying to take care of it. You put them outside? You make them leave the store or leave the mall out separate entrances? What in the fuck are you thinking?
Well, I get that, but I can also kind of give you an answer or explain maybe why.
Okay.
Not far from the mall, like we've got the police station across the street, just like right across from the mall or even backed up next to the mall parking lot or whatever is a park.
Okay.
Like a big public park where a lot of kids would hang out and play in the summertime. So some of those kids would wander over to the mall to grab lunch or a drink or come in Sears to use the bathroom and cool down in the air conditioning. They would walk in and play these video games and then leave. So a lot of the young kids kind of running around, didn't have parental supervision.
They were just kind of doing their own thing.
Right, over at the park. So this girl just assumed that these kids didn't have parents in the store, and that they were just the kids who wander in and play video games.
Oh, she's like, now get on back to the park and cut it out.
Yeah.
Okay, well, that makes a little more sense. And it was a different time, kids weren't all, they went around by themselves.
Well, that's the thing. I mean, this whole case is bungled, but it's because no one really knew what they were doing. Like the concept, like I said, of missing children, kidnapped children, just did not occur to people. I mean, even when John Walsh is bringing this to police saying, do you think my son has been kidnapped? They're kind of blowing him off like, oh, come on, the last kid that was kidnapped for ransom money was Charles Lindbergh's son, and that was 40 years ago. Like,
right.
No. Like, that's just the most impossible thing that could happen. Kathy had taken the boys to the west door. And the thing is, Adam only knew the north door entrance, where his mom always came in by the Sears catalog receiving and all that. So if she'd put him out the west door, like, he would have not known which door that was, or even like how to get back into the parking, like where his mom had parked.
He would almost instantly be lost.
Yes. So they kept thinking like, okay, she put him out and then he was completely lost. 2 weeks into the investigation, law enforcement starts looking at the family. John agrees to take a polygraph exam. The interview and questions went on for 7 hours. John shared every detail, even like the most insignificant, because he was just like, I'm going to just put everything on the table.
Okay.
Like, I'm going to give you everything you need. It doesn't matter if it's some small thing that you don't need to hear about. I'm just going to be as honest as possible with you. The examiner determined that John played no role in his son's disappearance. But then the police started focusing on their family friend, Jimmy Campbell. Now, it turns out Reve was having an affair with him.
Oh, shit.
She broke off their relationship 2 weeks before Adam went missing. So, of course, law enforcement is taking this narrative to mean Jimmy kidnapped Adam because Reve had ended things.
Okay,
that's some sort of theory they come up with.
Some kind of revenge.
Right. And here's the thing, though. John Walsh had no idea his wife was having an affair.
Okay.
He had no clue that this was happening, that his friend and his wife were having this affair. He, in his book, which was one of my main resources for this case, he goes into saying, like, he wasn't even really mad at his wife. Like, he understood. He was working all the time, traveling, was not at home, really just kind of leaving her, kind of on her own emotionally. And
well, when you're in a relationship like that and your spouse does, you feel the loss of connection and stuff as well, right?
Yeah.
The situation that your relationship's in, you know what I mean? And I'm not saying it's not going to hurt, but it's almost like it's different than if you're doing in your mind everything right, and then someone does this, and maybe that hurts in a different way.
But the thing is, like, he's completely blindsided with this news, and his wife doesn't even tell him. Like, she can't bring herself to tell him about it, and it's through, like, law enforcement and these interviews and things that he learns.
Damn.
This on top of his son's gone missing.
That's a punch in the gut.
And when this information kind of is made public, then it's like another strike against this woman. Like, not only was she wearing a leotard and shorts on the day her son went missing, but she's a cheater. And look what she's done. And, so it's almost like, well, she deserves her son to go missing. She's a nasty person.
Right.
And that's not a fair assessment.
No one deserves that, even if, their relationship's in a bad situation.
Well, and over the years, there have been a lot of, like, conspiracy theories and weird rumors and that have come out about this case, and a lot of it relies on these little details that are, like, she had an affair, so obviously,
right,
they did something to this child. I mean, just crazy shit. On Tuesday, August 11th, the Walshes were set to appear on Good Morning America. Around 5 a.m., John received a phone call from law enforcement inquiring about Adam's dentist. So at this point, the family John and Reve have flown to New York. They're staying in a hotel, going on Good Morning America.
Okay.
So he's about to go on Good Morning America. He's got to be on the show at like 8 a.m. He gets this 5 o'clock call from law enforcement.
So they've tracked him down to where he's at to ask for dental records.
Yeah.
Oh, gosh.
Yeah. So on August 10th, a severed head was found in a drainage canal alongside the Florida Turnpike near Vero Beach. Vero Beach was 130 miles from Hollywood, Florida. Indian River County and St. Lucie County divers searched this canal for the rest of the remains.
So they weren't actively searching. Someone just spotted a head.
I think like a power and light worker.
A little kid's head.
Well, they saw a human head. Yeah.
My God. I mean, could you imagine?
No, it makes me sick to think about it.
And can you imagine hearing this about your little one, your little baby, your child?
Well, they're asking for dental records. They have this news. John does not want to share this news with his wife.
Right.
Just yet. He's like, I'm not going to upset her because it maybe isn't our son.
Well, no. And again, that shows his personality. Protecting, shouldering this horrible thought and trying his best for her to not even have to think about it or wait as long. Or I guess with the hope maybe it's not their child.
Well, Good Morning America producers have heard this news as well about this head being found. And they ask, do you want to do the show? It's up to you. Like, do you want to come on the show? Or do you feel like maybe you're not prepared or you can't do it right now?
Right.
But John and Reve made the decision that they were going to appear on Good Morning America. During the broadcast, the Walshes said they held out hope that Adam was still alive. They reinforced that there was a $100,000 reward being offered for a safe return. After this interview, they go grab some food and are heading back to the hotel. John receives a phone call that no one is prepared for, and no one wants to get this call. The remains were confirmed to be those of Adam Walsh's.
Damn.
So this head in the canal belongs to their child.
And that would be such a horrible news to get.
Losing a child must be the most painful experience. You know, your child is a part of you, and our children are supposed to outlive us. Like, that's the idea that we have.
Right.
I can't imagine.
No, there's no way.
My heart goes out to anyone out there who's lost a child. A wake was held for Adam on Thursday at a local funeral home, and then on Saturday, August 15th, the Walshes held a funeral for their son at St. Maurice's Catholic Church. A Catholic funeral service for a child under 7 is called a Mass of Angels, Dylan.
Oh, I did not know that.
It is a belief in the religion that children under the age of 7 aren't capable of making a moral choice to sin, so they're automatically in the presence of God when they pass away. So it's a very, kind of a unique service for children, this Mass of Angels.
Right.
More than 1,000 people attended Adam Walsh's funeral.
Which doesn't surprise me after the coverage of this case and this kind of shocking nature of it.
And that is where we're going to end part 1, Dylan. Part 2, we are going to get into the investigation, suspect, a confession, a new theory that has emerged.
Yeah, part 2 has some very interesting things. I was not aware of all of the things that developed later on in this case, and I can't wait. And thank you for your first part. Like I said, this was a huge case. I remember as a young person, but I've certainly never dug into all the details. So I appreciate that, Heather.
You're welcome, Dylan.
Yeah, and we hope all our listeners liked it, and we cannot wait. We're going to get back on track with our Maybe we can cram a recap into here or there in true crime news. Been all kinds of strange things.
Yeah, we've got to talk about some of the things happening.
Some
lately.
strange things happening. Maybe a bonus episode or two, before. I know Heather's got her plate full with the West Memphis 3 and everything we're doing on Patreon as well. And so we're just keep chugging along here in the Mountain Murders Action News Studio.
You wanted to say that.
Yeah.
You want to be a news announcer so badly.
Yeah, well, I just want to open.
You should take a broadcasting class.
Yeah, I know, maybe.
Dylan Packer reporting.
This is Dylan Packer reporting.
Mountain Murder News.
Reporting live from my living room.
There you go.
Okay.
Yeah, okay. Start a YouTube channel.
Let's be a Wolfman Jack.
Okay.
I want to be like a shock jock late night radio DJ. But I don't know anything about music.
We don't need any more of that.
I just have to get you to write my shows for me.
Okay.
Again.
Well, you got to pay me.
I'll pay you.
Don't forget to visit our website, mountainmurderspodcast.com. There you can access the podcast, listen from the page. You can go to our merch store.
Just in time for the holidays, and you can get a little chunk of merch, Mountain Murder merch for that, that
special true crime fan in your life.
Yeah, that special true crime fan in your life. Or treat yourself.
Like, girl, you've been working hard. Brush your shoulders off. You deserve a treat. Go get yourself a little Mountain Murders ball cap.
Heather has some great designs over there. I still need to get a few for myself. I'm going to do it for real this time because I've looked multiple times. I have my eye on a few designs.
Dude, I just thought of something. Can I give a shout out to one of our listeners?
Yeah.
I want to say a big congratulations to Ashley. She's a sweetheart, Dylan. She and her sister competed in a high rocks competition.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, on Halloween morning. And so they completed this challenge. Their finish time was 1 hour and 38 minutes.
Nice.
I don't know how she did it, but I'm like super proud of her.
Way to go, Ashley.
She even messaged me to let me know like that she did the thing.
Well,
so I was like, man, I'm so proud of you because that's amazing.
That is amazing. And I'm glad you, I'm sure you trained for that and it was a big moment and you put in the work and it sounds like it paid off.
We're so proud of our listeners. If you have a big accomplishment, let us know.
We just love feedback from our listeners.
We love to hype you guys up.
We're
all so proud of you.
You hype us up. We have, you share parts of your lives with us and obviously we share probably maybe more of our lives than we should with you. But we really do appreciate the feedback and Heather just absolutely loves getting messages and updates from people.
Yeah, it makes me really happy. We do have a lot of listeners who send me memes and videos and funny shit. And they have their pulse on what they know my brand. They know what's funny. So I always appreciate hearing from you guys. And if you would like to send us an email, mountainmurderspodcast@gmail.com. We do birthday shout outs, anniversary, congratulations. We're like a free Cameo service.
I was going to say it's like Cameo, but it's free.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, just hit us up.
Yeah, I'll be like, hey, have a good birthday.
All right, guys. Bye.
Bye.